Is slow dancing a thing of the past? Is this something that we're going to be doing less and less of moving forward? Is it ever going to come back? Well, as a DJ, especially one who does weddings, I'm going to talk about how many slow dances I play, how often I use them, how I use them, and the future of them. So let's briefly talk about the history of slow dancing real quick. So it started out as a waltz right in the 1800s, way back in the day, and then it really became prominent, at least in America, in the 1920s and 1940s, ballroom dancing, right? Back then, there were no DJs. You had a band, not even a band, what do you call them? An orchestra or whatever. They would, play the violins or you know what I'm talking about, okay? And then moving forward to the 1950s, up until like the 70s, that's where like slow dancing was the shit. It was going strong. It was almost like a rite of passage for young people at proms and just in general, that was like your first slow dance. It was like an intimate moment you would have with somebody you liked, back in the day where a dude would go up to a girl and be like, can I have this dance? That was like shooting your shot back in the day. It was a big deal. And it stayed a big deal for a long time, all through the 80s and 90s. Now you had the emergence of R&B artists like Boyz II Men, Luther Vandross, stuff like that, coming out with straight bangers. Even 80s hair metal bands all had ballads that ended up becoming famous and were really good slow songs back in the day. Like, slow dancing was a thing. It was really ingrained in American culture. That's what you did with someone you loved or liked or wanted to love or like. Slow dancing is probably one of the reasons why a lot of us are here, probably one of the reasons why grandma and grandpa got together and got lucky and made our parents and then made us and that sort of thing, right? We should be thanking slow dances, okay? A lot of us wouldn't be here if it wasn't for slow dances. And even in the 2000s, when I started DJing, I remember slow dances were a big part of DJing. We would play them a lot. I was taught the rule early on that you always played 2 slow dances in a row. So when I started, the first couple of years of me DJing weddings and stuff, I would always play 2 slow dances in a row. So it'd be Color My World into Unchained Melody, or, At Last into Amazed by Lone Star, things like that. You would play 2 slow dances in a row, and then you would do that multiple times throughout the night to break up the night. And it would always pack the dance floor. It would always flip the room. It would always work. But then as the years went by, I started to notice that like maybe 2 in a row is a little too much. So I brought it down to 1, right? And then you kind of notice that maybe 4 slow songs in a night is too much. Maybe only do 3 or 2 or 1, and the number just started shrinking and shrinking. And that's because slow dancing has gradually become less effective. So fast forward to today, I think there's a lot of factors for that. You know what I mean? Slow dancing still works and still has a place, but really only at weddings and proms. Like the younger generations aren't into it. So basically what I'm saying is slow dancing is getting less and less popular, and it might get worse moving forward. And there's a couple reasons for this. The first reason is the hyper awareness thanks to smartphones. Everyone has a phone in their pocket. So I feel like young people are less willing to kind of be vulnerable and have those moments in public. Anything could be filmed or watched, and it just makes it awkward. People are more cautious about that now. And now slow dancing is basically just for weddings and proms, and that's it. I can't think of another situation where you would slow dance. Like, it's literally those 2 things. And it's just not as organic that way. Like, slow dancing became just a curated moment to capture, essentially, at these 2 events. And that's pretty much it. But not even at proms as much anymore, because there's a lot of proms that don't do slow dances. I mean, for example, my buddy Santi, who is 6 years younger than me, he didn't have any slow dances at his prom whatsoever, right? So he was the class of, I think, 2013 or 2014. His senior prom had 0 slow dances. Now, I know that's not the case everywhere, and it's definitely based on the area and whatnot, but the fact that there's no slow dances at a prom ever is insane to me. Now, with all that being said, as a wedding DJ, this is how I handle slow dances. I still play them, but not all the time. Not always. It used to be always, but it's not always anymore. Some weddings I don't play any slow dances, and some weddings I play 1 or 2. It's always 2 max. I never play more than 2 anymore unless it's specifically asked by the couple, because it just feels like too much. It just, any more than 2, it's like you're slowing it down too much. You can literally feel the crowd almost groan. Like, all right, we're going to slow things down for our romantic couples. It's like, all right, I guess we got to sit through a slow song. Like, the vibe is different. It never used to be like that. And I'm just following the vibes here. Now, when or if I play slow dances kind of depends on the couple and the timeline and the people in front of me. If I have an older couple or an older crowd in general, I'm definitely going to play a slow song or 2, 1000%. They love the slow dance. They're from the old era. Why not give it to them? They're expecting it, right? I'm going to start a dance set off with a slow dance. Beyond that, the timeline dictates this as well. I live in New Jersey. I DJ a lot of weddings in the Northeast. And in the Northeast, there's a lot of places that have dance sets before dinner. Now, if you have a dance set before dinner or two dance sets before dinner, and then you're dancing them after dinner, it's a whole lot to start every single dance set with a slow song. You can't do that. It's just too much. You have to roll dog it sometimes. You have to just drop a banger and people will come out and that's it. And it's scary for a lot of DJs, but it truly, truly does work. So let's say I have a dance set before dinner and a dance set after dinner. It's going to go straight through, but I want to make sure I play a slow song because it's an older crowd or I just think they'll like it or whatever. Then I will do the first dance set without a slow song. I'll just play a banger, invite everybody out, do my quick dance set, we go into dinner. Then after dinner, I'll typically start with a slow song, invite all the couples out, and then hit a banger after, like I traditionally would my whole career. And being that typically I'm slowing it down for the older people, I tend to play older slow dance songs. I usually don't go for the newer stuff because I'm playing for the older crowd. You know what I mean? If I play a younger slow song and none of the younger people are even coming out, so the old people are just slow dancing, just a slow dance, and they don't even like that song. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather play a classic like At Last or Unchained Melody or Stand By Me or Color My World. I think Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith is a really good one as well. It's longer, but like, you know, everybody knows that song. Everybody loves that song and sings it. So, you know, I think that's a really good banger. But that's pretty much it. You know, I'm kind of like in that realm, and it's max one or two a wedding. But so many weddings this year I've had where I didn't slow it down at all. And you know, I'll tell you this, I think slow dancing isn't gone forever, okay? But I think it's definitely gonna be gone for a little bit. I think everything with music is cyclical. It's always gonna come back, right? The retro stuff will become cool again. The slow dancing will become cool again one day, but not anytime soon. Not in our careers anyway. I think in the next 10, 15, 20 years, it's really just the only real slow dances are going to be the first dance. I don't think the parent dances are going to happen as much anymore. And it's a shame, but that's just where it's looking. And then one day it'll come back and it'll be the cool thing to do again. But moving forward as a DJ, I'm just not relying on them anymore. I'm not doing them just to do them because I'm scared to open up the dance floor without them. And I recommend you do the same. Start getting used to being a little uncomfortable and opening up the dance floor with a banger instead of a slow dance. Because more and more couples are going to start saying, hey, we don't want any slow dances or very minimal slow dances. And you're going to have to do it. You know, you can't rely on them forever. They're literally, it's not going to be an option moving forward. So start practicing now, DJs, okay? Just grab your nuts and try it. But that's my 2 cents in the market I'm in. I'd love to hear about your market, where you're at. Do you still play slow dances? Have you stopped? Do you still play them just as frequently? Which ones you're playing? Let us know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you at the next one.